Hey everyone, it's Shuri. I'm the founder and director of Salt and Light Society. And I just wanted to come and kind of share our origin story, how it all began. And it began in an unconventional way. So last June, we were driving home from church one night, and my oldest, who was going into ninth grade, looked at me and said, Mom, the only thing that I would miss by, homeschooling and not going to a traditional school would be getting a yearbook. And that just hit my heart because I loved my yearbooks growing up. I have all of them from middle school, I have all of them from high school. And so to me, that was like, wow, yeah, that's something that you don't really get as a homeschooler. You get, like, you can fill gaps, you can join communities and join clubs, and there are some amazing homeschool groups that have yearbooks. But I don't do anything halfway. When she said yearbook, my mind didn't go to a small little picture book printed from like Shutterfly. I went to like those professionally bound, beautiful, glossy pages with everyone's names alphabetized. Like I go big. I don't think halfway is how I can really do much of anything in my life, and those who know me can testify to that. But so she had that idea, and I loved it, and I latched onto it. And then the thought became, well, who is going to be in this yearbook? Because I have 5 girls, and yes, I love taking pictures of them, and they do crazy, hilarious things, and we do a ton of stuff as a family. But a yearbook has to be more than that. It has to be your community, your people, the people you choose to do life with. And up until that point, homeschooling, I hadn't really joined any communities. I didn't do co-ops. They're not my thing, honestly. Like, co-ops tend to have agendas, and they tend to want to do their curriculum. They want to learn together, which is awesome, and I love that for people who that's how they want to do it. That's not my style. That's not how I do it. I love the freedom of just learning alongside my kids and choosing what we learn, where a lot of co-ops will have their set curriculum and you're going to follow what they want to learn and their timeline of things. And well, that's great, and I have nothing against that for in general. That's just not how I do it. So we didn't have that community. And in our community locally, there are a lot of homeschoolers, and there's a lot of people who meet up. But again, for various reasons, they were not a good fit for my family. I tend to be very strict about just what we do as a family. Like, I want my values to be aligned to where when we're having people that feed into our lives and become like family to us, like close friends, I want their values to align. And it's hard to find a community that really fits with that. And I mean, not just from a Christian standpoint. I'm sure a lot of other families also, want their values to align. And, we as parents, we get to choose who we put around our children, and that's amazing, and I love that. And so for me, we just had never joined a big community. But we are active in our church, and we have a huge amount of friends, and they homeschool. So it became a point of like not who as much as like how are we going to coordinate this to make it happen. And so I took the idea, I came up with the name, and I just decided that's where we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. So we had the idea, we had the name, and that was it. That was all we had. I'm like, I'm gonna make a yearbook, I'm gonna make it happen, and this is the name that we're gonna use on the front of the yearbook. And then it became logistics. It became like, okay, we know families, we have amazing friends, like how are we gonna get them all together? How are we going to get opportunities to create pictures to put into this yearbook? And so I thought back a couple years back, I had been meeting up with a very small group of friends, and we would meet every Tuesday at a different park locally. And I thought that's a great kind of foundation for who we are. Like, I am all about being outdoors. With 5 kids, let me tell you, indoor meetups are chaos. So I love the outdoors. I love parks, beaches, springs, all of the fun stuff, like outside. I love being outside. And so that kind of became the core of what we were going to do. I put it up on Facebook. I put my core values, who we were, what I was about, and I just threw it out into Facebook, and I said, this is my idea. Because in my head, I have no following on Facebook. I have my friends. And so my thought was, my friends are going to see this, and my friends are going to be like, yes, we're going to join. And within a day, there were almost 100 families who had this idea had resonated with. And it wasn't even so much the yearbook, because while the yearbook was my reason for doing this, and it was my motivation to put the group together, and I made it clear that I wanted to make a yearbook, it was really the values and the idea of community that kind of drew people in. And it was a bigger draw than I'd realized at the time. Like, I didn't realize the need in our community for just, like, in our local community, the need for that type of group to exist for homeschoolers. So it was June. I, basically knew nothing about leadership. I knew nothing about running a group. I knew nothing about taking pictures or making a yearbook or any of it. And I was like, I'm going to do this. This is exciting. And it just kind of, it brought me back to life in ways that I didn't realize I needed to be brought back to life. Like, it just became such a passion project of mine. And, one thing, it just kept stacking like dominoes. One thing came and it needed another thing. Like when you give a mouse a cookie and then it needs the milk. And that's kind of how this group began. It was like, when you give me an idea and then it needs all these other things to kind of come to fruition. That's basically how Salt and Light started. And in the beginning, I was so sure that we weren't going to get the people to come, and it was just going to be me and my kids at the park every week. And so I was out there and I was telling people, you got to come, you got to be part of this. And I was selling it. And I remember our very first meetup, I had the idea in June. I kind of built the group online throughout the summer, because my summer was crazy last year. And our first meetup was going to be at the beach on August 1st. And I always show up early for everything. It's possibly a character flaw. Sorry, my kids are playing. And I showed up at the beach. It was, our original meetup times was like 9 to noon. So I showed up like a little before 9. And crickets. Like, I'm sitting there and we're at the beach and we're enjoying it. And now I had gone out and I got like the speakers and the tents and a big water cooler. Like, I brought ice pops. I came prepared. I was like, this is going to be epic. And then, so 9 o'clock, nothing. No one's there. It's just me and my kids. 9, 10, 5, nothing. 9, 10. So people start finally rolling in around 9:15. I was like, oh, okay, some people are going to come. And now a lot of these people I only knew online through Facebook. And so I'm introducing myself and we're getting to know each other. There had to be 100 people at the beach that first day, and I was standing there in the water and I was looking up at the beach, and it was flat full of homeschoolers, of happy kids, of just amazing times. And I thought, this is God. This has to be God bringing this together in this way. And I'm almost done with the yearbook. I am beyond excited to have it in my hands, to hand it out to people and to show them, because this is literally the best thing. This year has been the best year, and this yearbook is like the best thing I've ever done, and I can't wait for everyone to see it. And it just, I wanted to share the heart of Salt and Light, and this is the heart of Salt and Light. It's just the community of it. It's coming together, and the friendships, and you can see in every page the friendships growing, and the friendships just, getting closer. And last weekend or the weekend before Easter, we had what's going to become our annual camping trip, or biannual. We had the best time, so we might do it more than once a year. Excuse me. But yeah, and it was just like, to see these families who, a year ago didn't even know each other, and now they've got like best friends. They're creating opportunities to hang out outside of Fridays and groups, and it's just, it's just amazing how God can take a simple idea of a 15-year-old looking at her mom and saying, I'd really love a yearbook. And it created an entire community. And it created a space that I didn't know needed to be created in my life or for my kids. So, the idea for the YouTube page is for me to be able to show you how it all is getting done, show you how I've created the schedule to, how I choose what yearbook printer I'm partnering with, and, all the other things, because so much went into this year, so much I wasn't expecting. There was a huge learning curve. I taught myself photography, and I did 98% of the portraits that are in the yearbook. I got sick, and a lot of parents just had to send me pictures at the end. But so there was a huge amount of things that I didn't realize would be incorporated in this, that would be part of running a group. I have incorporated, we have a board of leadership now for accountability. And I've set this up in a way that if you remove me from the picture, this group would stand alone and it would thrive. And I'm just so proud of what God has created throughout this year with the Salt and Light Society. And I just love to be able to share that with everybody, the foundation of it and how it all came to be, because this isn't a one-off thing. Like, this can be created in any community, I believe. I feel like there is such a desire, especially for, homeschooling mothers or fathers and for their kids, for that feeling of community and that feeling of just pure, strong friendships. Like, I can't even count on my hands how many people that have turned from strangers to friends into practically family through this year, through Salt and Light. And I know that this is not because of me. This isn't something that I did. Like, I obeyed God and I heard what was asked of me and I stepped into it. But that's not because of me. It's not anything that I personally did. This is something that anyone could step into and could create. And I mean, I just feel so blessed that I was called to do it and that I do get the honor of being the founder and director of the Salt and Light Society here. But I know that this can be duplicated. This is just such an amazing thing God has done. And I know that if this is something that, is, maybe you're in a community and you don't have this, maybe God's calling you to step up and do it. And I just wanted to share, all of the little pitfalls I found and anything that's kind of tripped me up a little bit, because while it has been a huge learning curve, this group it's set up for success. It's set up to really be a long-term thing. And like my youngest is in kindergarten next year, and I just know that I will be doing this for the next 12 years at the very least, and I know that each year is going to get better. So if you want to join me, I would love for you to subscribe and just follow along as I share, how I chose to take the pictures, how I edit them, what formatting the yearbook looks like, and all the other little things that it took to take us to where we are. But I'm going to stop talking now, but I just really appreciate that you listened as long as you did, and I hope that you come back and follow more to see really the heart of Salt and Light. Thank you.